All right, I am back in the US. I have good Wi-Fi again, so I can do more video lessons, and I have my trading challenge webinar tomorrow, Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern. So you trading challenge students, be prepared with questions. I want to answer all of your questions. I want you all asking tons and tons and tons of useful questions, not just about my life, as some of you guys like to do, but about trades. And right now I am long CUBA overnight. This is a 1 day chart. You might look at it and you say, why do you want to buy this? It's spiked big at the open today, faded midday, crashed afternoon, and then we got a little bounce into the close, and now it's going up a little after hours. Well, I got in right near the lows at 860, and it is predictable. Um, buying this stock into the close. Not that there was any signs today that it would bounce, but because of the daily chart. And you have to look at multiple time frames. Here's the daily chart. This was a huge runner. Okay, remember it when it went from 7 to 14 and there was a lot of hate, a lot of short sellers here at 9 saying, oh, it's overvalued. This is a closed-end fund. I was one of them. I was shorting it, but I covered quickly for profits when I saw that it wasn't crashing. A lot of short sellers did not, and they lost tons of money. I lost money when I was shorting it in here in the 12s 1 day before it did crash, but I broke my rules because I shorted it before it broke support, multi-day support at 12:30. Good lessons. All that you need to understand right now is that this is a former runner, and former runners can become runners again very easily, very soon. So for the past, what is this? 2 weeks, it's been coming down, hasn't done anything. And it tried to bounce once, it tried to bounce twice, it couldn't do anything. Today is the first real bounce day where you had a huge gap up. You see the volume has increased, and it's because there's new news about Cuba and how the U.S. and Cuba were progressing getting rid of the embargo. This is very big for a ticker with the name Cuba, and technically they don't have a lot of businesses in Cuba, but they're designed for this, and so they are prepared, better prepared than anyone else for the embargo to be lifted, and theoretically, that should add some value to this closed-end fund. I'm not looking at this as a value play. I'm not saying this closed-end fund is worth this X amount. I'm saying that this is a former runner. Today is the first day that it's really bounced on good news, and it couldn't even hold its game. So I don't think necessarily this is going back to 10, 11, 12. I just like to buy this on the first up day, the first bounce day. And, I bought it right near the lows, nearly $1 a share off the day highs. So I'm buying the bounce, but I'm not buying it at the highs, and I'm buying it into the close because I think that more people will read about this Cuba news overnight. And we can get, I don't think, a whole nother 90 cent a share spike, but I would love to be selling this at $9, $9.10, $9.20 and make 40, 50 cents. The downside is if I'm wrong, I would just cut losses quickly. If it opens tomorrow at 8.55, 8.50, I lose and I cut losses if I'm disciplined. Hopefully, I could have taken a small loss on VOXX the other day and I stupidly added to my position and I broke my rules. But if I'm disciplined, Cuba, I can lose 5 or 10 cents a share if I'm wrong. But if I'm right, it can gap, it can spike. And this is the exact same trade as Loco the other day. Loco has also been coming down. It's a former runner. Let me show you the daily chart. This was one of the top performing IPOs. Let's go to 200 days. So you can see it had the huge spike and then the huge crash, very similar to Cuba. And it too was kind of coming down every single day. I mean, this crash was a multi-month crash. But let's zoom in. What happened right here? What happened on this day? You see every single day it's fading, 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 doing nothing. It tries to bounce once, it tries to bounce twice, it tries to bounce 3 times, tries to bounce 4 times. Every day it fails. But right here, it gaps up. It gaps up on the analyst upgrade. And what did I do? I didn't chase it. I didn't chase it at all. I bought it into the market close. And the next day it went to actually the 23s and the 25s. So I underestimated this bounce. So it was a 4-day bounce. But when you have a gap up with a catalyst on a former runner with a stock that is beaten down, that is when you buy into the market close. Let me just show you the intraday chart when I bought. It was, what was it? No, more than 7 days ago. right here. This was the gap up day. You can see here it was at around 2020. The news came out. It went to 21.90, so it was up huge. But then it dipped into the close, and I bought it into the close here. I bought it into the close at the 2080s, the exact same pattern. And I don't know if Cuba's going to do this, but I do know that remember this is a formula. Former runner, stock has gotten crushed and is looking to bounce. You have a catalyst that could bounce it. And best of all, because this is kind of a speculative trade, I'm buying it $1 a share off of its highs from the catalyst. So it's already proven that whatever the catalyst is, it can spike it. Loco went for basically 20 to 22. So nearly a 10% spike on the catalyst of the analyst upgrade. But then it came down because some people were just like, oh my God, I'm so happy to be out. Let me sell into this spike. But that doesn't take away the catalyst. Loco still had the analyst upgrade and it gapped up nicely. And I gapped up. I made nearly 80 cents a share on this one. And, I coulda, woulda, shoulda made, $4 a share over 4 days. So it's a very good thing to be. And I don't normally buy $20 stocks. Cuba, I don't normally buy $9 closed-end funds, but it's the exact same thing where you have Cuba that has gotten crushed. First up day with the catalyst of the good Cuba news. So traders overnight tonight will be thinking, you know what? I remember this stock. I remember that this ran a lot, and let me buy this because it might run again. And yet it tanks because there's a lot of bitter shareholders who just want to sell into any single spike. So I'm getting a very good price. I would not chase this stock at 9.30, just like with Loco. I would not chase it here at 21.90. But when this happens, when you see an opportunity, I did not plan to buy Cuba. Okay, I saw the morning spike, I saw the news, and I was like, well, let's just see what it can do. It might spike, it might continue, but it'll probably fail. And then into the market close. Let me just show you, just in case you're not understanding this. Into the market close, it couldn't break this 855 level. So when I'm buying it here at 860, I have such little risk. Even though this is speculative, because the formula has aligned, it's a very beautiful thing to buy a stock with very little risk when there is solid upside and spikeability. This whole lesson is going to be in my new spikeability DVD. I'm going to show you example after example, but right now you have Cuba and Loco, and you can clearly see that, when this happens, the news travels overnight. The analyst upgrade traveled overnight. Traders everywhere knew that Loco, had gotten crushed 50%, and they thought, well, there's just no reason to buy it. You don't want to buy stocks that are getting crushed just randomly. It's your hands get very bloody trying to catch a falling knife. So you don't want to do that. But if the catalyst is right and the risk is right, with Loco, if I was wrong, and I could have been, and I could be wrong at any time, I'm buying it here on the dip. I think I got like $20.86 a share, I think was my buy price, and it was already off the lows of like 20.70. But I was thinking that, okay, back here just a few days ago, there was some support here in the 2070s. So again, my risk is that I'm losing like 10 or 20 cents a share. If it doesn't gap up, if it doesn't spike the very next morning, I'm out. And I lose 5, 10, 15 cents a share. Instead, Loco gapped up 80 cents a share, and I took profits. That's a damn good risk reward. And I didn't even have to, but just to show you the potential. So with Cuba, it has tons and tons of support in here. The day low today was 855, and look at this. There's support going back here to 860, and then worst case, there's support here like in the 840s. So worst case, I'm going to lose 20 cents a share if I'm disciplined, if I cut losses quickly. It's very important to cut losses quickly, or else you can throw, all your risk measures out the window if you don't stick to the rules. But if I stick to the rules, the worst case, I'm going to lose 5, 10, 15, 20 cents a share. Best case, we get another gap up, I don't know, maybe to 950, but 920, and I make 60 cents a share, or 910, and I make 50 cents a share. If I'm only going to risk losing 5, 10, 15 cents a share, and I can make 50, 60 cents a share overnight, a lot of you guys are under the PDT rule where you can only make 3 day trades per 5 rolling day period. This is not a day trade. buying it in the afternoon, holding overnight. The news should travel overnight. It's already gapping after hours. That's a good sign. Maybe it doesn't get to 920 or 930. Maybe I have to sell at 890 and I make 30 cents a share. But either way, the odds are in my favor. The formula is in my favor. You can see that this pattern has clearly worked before. It's just a gimme pattern. And this is a great trade that anybody can do no matter what your account size is. You can buy 1,000 shares. You can buy 200 shares if you want and try and make $100. Try and make 50 cents a share. But as long as the risk is limited and the reward is greater, and you have a specific plan like I do, I will be out of this stock one way or the other right near the market open or this closed-end fund. I think that I'm going to make money because, as I've said, this is the pattern. It's very well thought out. There's a catalyst. I'm buying it on a dip. It's not a perfect catalyst. I know a lot of you guys are like, Tim, I'm going to be truly disciplined. I only want to buy earnings winners or contract winners. Well, a lot of earnings winners and contract winners haven't exactly played out. VOXX was an earnings winner, didn't really do much the second day. MOC was a contract winner, didn't really do much the second day. So sometimes you have to think outside the box and just think, what is a catalyst? The difference between Loco, Cuba, MOC, and VOXX is that MOC and VOXX were not big runners. They were not big spikers. Cuba and Loco were. So it's better when you buy these former spikers because traders remember it. If you ever talk to a personal trainer, he says like muscles have memory. So if you were in great shape once upon a time, like I was, and you need to get in great shape again, even though it's not going to be easy, your muscles still have memory. And stocks have memory too. Traders have memory too. So Cuba and Loco can spike more, can bounce better because they were such big winners, and traders will remember. And traders will look at this and they'll see, Cuba was only up 7% on the day, but in a down day in the market, up 7% is pretty big. So perhaps, just perhaps, traders will see this bounce on their radars, on their screens overnight. It's probably going to be up pre-market tomorrow starting at 8 a.m. Eastern. And when that happens, they're going to put two and two together and say, uh-oh, Cuba might put together a multi-day run. Let me buy it. People will talk about it in different chat rooms, and the chat rooms might buy it. And this all adds up to a self-fulfilling prophecy where you're trying to find a stock that can duplicate, the big run that it once had. Cuba's big run was right here, from 7 to 14. And I'm not saying that it's going to go all the way back, but to go a little back, because people are going to remember that former big spike. And now you have specific news that people can say in chat rooms, on message boards, in emails, on Blackberries, and they talk to their friends and they can say, look, this should be on your radar. Cuba might bounce. Remember how it went up significantly for a few days. Remember, SHERF actually does do business in Cuba. It spiked too, but it's not bouncing. Is SEHERF a really bad company? I don't care. Okay, I'm not trying to judge the companies. I'm trying to see which stocks have spikeability. And I know this is confusing to a lot of you. My new spikeability DVD, I'm working on it now. I'm back in the US. But give me a few weeks because I'm a perfectionist. I still haven't even finished my How to Make Millions DVD. We've uploaded, I think, 22, 24 hours. We have another 10 hours roughly, and I'm going to finish that this weekend. Going to Bali, getting engaged, kind of took over my life for a few days. So I'm sorry I've fallen behind on some of these educational DVDs, but don't worry, I'm working on them. And I want you to be able to spot these plays ahead of time. I don't want you to have to try and follow any alert. You should never follow any alerts. I mean, it's all about discovering these good opportunities on your own and profiting on your own, as all my self-sufficient millionaire students do. But this is just one pattern that I've seen has worked again and again, and we'll see tomorrow if it works on Cuba. Thank you and good night.